A few years ago, a pair of fire-damaged pistols were displayed in Moscow, courtesy of the FSB archives, the successor to the old KGB secret police. These weapons had once belonged to Nazi Germany's infamous propaganda minister, Dr. Josef Goebbels, and played a central role in his demise in 1945. The weapons are Walther Model 8 pistols, chambered in 6.35mm or 25 ACP. An 8-round blowback-operated semi-automatic produced between 1920 and 1940, with 145,000 units manufactured. Due to its small size, the Model 8 is listed as a single-action pocket pistol, and in World War II the type was used extensively by the German military, often carried by senior military and Nazi officers as a backup gun, and it was also popular with tank personnel and Luftwaffe aircrew due to its small size, perfect for use inside cramped vehicles or aircraft. The Model 8 actually was a prototype for the larger Walther PP, a police pistol much favored by Nazi leaders, including Hitler. Dr. Goebbels owned a pair of Model 8s, standard models that he appears to have kept in his desk, as no photographs or film ever seems to show him wearing a holstered pistol, even towards war's end, when he was filmed visiting close to the front line on the Oder River. Of course, wearing a pistol would have been unnecessary, as Goebbels had a special bodyguard unit, Bureau No. 5 of the Reichssicherheitsdienst, the RSD, the heavily armed unit of bodyguards that protected Hitler and other Nazi leaders.
Auf dem Marktplatz von Lauban wird Dr. Goebbels von dem Befehlshaber einer Heeresgruppe, Generaloberst Schörner, begrüßt. Eine Kampfgruppe der Führer-Grenadierdivision ist angetreten.
So why the old Model 8 and not the Walther PP, the Luger, or some other pistol that was often used by other Nazi leaders? Probably it was because of Goebbels's physical stature. He was very small for an adult Caucasian male, even by 1940 standards, standing just 1.65 meters, or about 5'4". Due to a deformed right foot that was shorter than his left, Goebbels also limped due to the leg brace and special shoe that he always wore. This medical condition had ensured that, unlike his brothers, Goebbels had not been able to serve in World War I, even though of the right age. He therefore had no formal weapons training or experience, and little apparent interest in firearms. The Model 8 was probably selected as he required a firearm due to his position, but needed a small, lightweight weapon due to his small physical stature. A 6.35mm pocket pistol was an ideal fit, and these weapons were probably a pair kept locked in a safe or drawer until eventually needed, as became the case in early May 1945. At some point, Goebbels had of course been introduced to the pistol's operation and had fired the weapons, probably under the supervision of his bodyguards, so he knew how to load, cock, and point the weapons safely. Most likely, the man that instructed Goebbels was his SS adjutant, Hauptsturmführer Gunther Schwegemann, who had lost an eye in combat on the Eastern Front, and had acted as Goebbels' adjutant since late 1941 until Goebbels' death. The events that led to Goebbels' pistols being burned are thus. On the 30th of April 1945, Hitler shot himself in the study of his Berlin bunker and was duly partially cremated along with the body of his wife Eva in a shell crater in the Reich Chancellery garden. According to the terms of Hitler's last will and testament, the position of Führer died with him. Hitler decreed that the position be split into two offices, Reich Chancellor and Reich President. The former title was given to Dr. Goebbels, the only Nazi leader, apart from Martin Bormann, not to have fled Berlin or been officially disgraced in some form or other. The latter title went to Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz, the head of the Navy, who was commanding German forces in northern Germany, Denmark, and Norway at war's end. Chancellor Goebbels tried to initiate peace negotiations with the Soviets, who were by now only half a kilometer from the bunker, where Goebbels had moved his wife and 6 young children. The Soviets demanded unconditional surrender, and Goebbels realized the game was up. He announced that he would emulate his Führer and die by his own hand. His wife Magda, a fervent Nazi, decided that the children must also die, as she saw no future for them in a world without Hitler. Senior figures asked Goebbels to join a planned breakout from the bunker for the night of the 1st to 2nd of May 1945 to try and reach American lines some 70 miles west of the city, but Goebbels demurred, saying, quote, "The captain must not leave his sinking ship. I have thought about it all and decided to stay here. I have nowhere to go, because with little children I would not be able to make it, especially with a leg like mine." In one of the more shocking moments in the dying days of the Third Reich, Goebbels and his wife calmly organized the murders of their 6 small children. On the evening of the 1st of May 1945, as the rest of the bunker occupants were preparing to break out of Berlin that night, SS dentist Sturmbannführer Helmut Kuntz administered morphine injections to the children to render them unconscious. Then Magda Goebbels and Hitler's personal physician, SS Obersturmbannführer Ludwig Stumpfegger, crushed cyanide capsules using forceps into the mouths of each unconscious child, killing them. The children were then left lying in their bunks in the bunker. Magda was later observed sitting at a table, silently playing Patience. At 8:30 p.m., Dr. Goebbels, dressed in his party uniform with a long brown leather overcoat, gloves and cap, climbed up the bunker's emergency exit to the Reich Chancellery garden, accompanied by his wife and his adjutant Schwegemann. In the pocket of his trench coat, Goebbels carried both loaded Walther Model 8 pistols. Schwegemann testified that he waited just inside the bunker exit as Goebbels and his wife walked around the corner out of sight, Magda wearing Hitler's own golden party badge pinned to her clothes, the Führer having given her this prized possession shortly before his own death. A little while after the Goebbels disappeared out of sight, Schwegemann reported hearing 2 pistol shots, a short interval between them. Emerging from the emergency exit, Schwegemann found his master lying on the ground, a gunshot wound to his right temple. Magda Goebbels lay close by, also shot. Goebbels had ordered Schwegemann to make sure that he was really dead by delivering the coup de grace, but Schwegemann couldn't bear to do it himself. Instead, he ordered one of the SS sentries patrolling the garden to shoot the corpse of Goebbels several more times. Other SS soldiers under Schwegemann's supervision poured petrol over both corpses and set them alight, but due to them lying out in the open and insufficient fuel remaining following Hitler's cremation, both corpses were only badly charred, and Goebbels's corpse, with its metal leg brace still in place, was easily identified by Soviet troops who captured the bunker the next day. Schwegemann had tossed both of Goebbels's pistols onto the ground next to his master's head, indicating that Goebbels may indeed have handed one pistol to Magda, though it appears that she didn't use it on herself, her husband shooting her with his own pistol. It is also possible that Goebbels carried both of the pistols up top to the garden because he needed to make sure that at least one would operate correctly. We will never know the true reason. However, these weapons were also consumed by the flames, as can be seen in this photograph of the pistols on display in Moscow a few years ago. The petrol fire burned off the Bakelite grips and also caused some of the remaining ammunition in both magazines to cook off, bulging the magazines out. You can also see that some live rounds remain inside the magazines today. The fire-damaged Hitler Golden Party badge was also recovered by the Soviets. These objects currently reside in the FSB archives in Moscow. The pistols remain an enduring image of the last desperate acts of the Third Reich's leadership, the ultimate relics of the failure of the man who carried these weapons into the Reich Chancellery garden on the evening of the 1st of May 1945. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon, details in the description box below.